Okay, let's do this. Hi guys, we have Ben with us here from Eponym. Eponym is one of those insanely creative projects in the NFT space that I discovered about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't stopped looking at it since. I think what these guys have built, what they have done is one of the coolest things to sort of just see what's happening with art, what's happening with AI, what's happening with NFTs. And I was so excited that I asked Ben and his co-founder Eyal into the show. Right now we have Ben, and maybe Eyal will join us in a bit. So Ben, welcome to the show. It's really nice to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. That's a pleasure.
Amazing. So you guys have been doing this art and AI thing for a while, right?
Yes.
I think I want to get into the details of it later, right? But I want to find out a lot about this juicy stuff, right? Here on the screen right now, we have this image called Sunset in Amsterdam, right? Now it's also signed on the bottom here. Who made this? How was this made? How does this happen?
The signature part?
No, the whole painting, the whole.
Yeah, so this is made by our AI. This is made by an AI algorithm that has had the opportunity to go over millions of different art samples and be both inspired by them and also learned on what they're based on. So the AI know how a sunset looks like. The AI knows how Amsterdam looks like. And so
how does AI know visually appealing? How do you teach AI to know visually appealing?
That's an amazing question. And it kind of has two parts. One of them will be kind of the base technology, which is based on GANs, generative adversarial networks. And the other one is a lot of time that we had to gather engagements of people that went through our gallery in the past 2 years. So we've been really focused on NFTs for the past 6 months, but before that we were developing the technology and we were presenting AI-generated art to the public and had the chance to have hundreds of thousands of visitors to our websites and gather the interaction with the AI, what type of artwork they think are very good, what type of artwork they think are not as good, and using this sentiment, using this engagement, we close the loop with the AI to let it understand better on what type of works are more engaging to humans. Now, that's kind of the end of the story. I started from the end. The beginning.
I'm hearing you, man, but it's too hard to understand. Somebody. So okay, let me reiterate what happened, how this painting was created. Somebody wrote these words. We are all searching for something.
Yeah.
And wrote a bunch of attributes with it. Tested out a few designs, maybe 10, maybe 1,000, and ended up landing on the AI creating this. Yeah. Am I correct? Is this what happened?
Yes, you are correct.
How long does it take to teach AI to read a few words and draw this? How long does it take?
To get to this quality and have so much variation, it takes years. So to train a new version of the algorithm by this point can take in between weeks to months, but that only because we have a lot of infrastructure and a lot of base knowledge on dozens of previous algorithm generations that we had to build. So every generation, I'm speaking about generations of the algorithms, every version of the algorithm is a bit different and a bit more complex. So at the end of the day, even though the generation time it took to generate this specific piece was probably a few hours, but it could also take in a few minutes, depends on the person that created it. The process itself to getting the AI to this point took about 2 years.
And what have you been feeding the AI? You've given the AI images, paintings, and then you have told the AI what these images and paintings denote. And then you fed the AI about what is aesthetically pleasing and what is not. And then you even taught AI how to put shades in a place that it sort of, looks like there is a light source. And some of the lighting in these images that have been created by the AI are are just insane, right? Like this is called Dying Star.
Yeah,
And-
I would agree. I would agree. And actually, we didn't teach the AI how lighting and shading should look like. Kind of the AI taught itself to do that. As the AI is, the training process comprises of two different AIs. And one of them saw millions of human art samples. And this is, let's call this AI the AI critic. So the AI critic by this point knows how human art looks like. It saw thousands of paintings that had really good lighting in them. People that devoted their life into making really realistic paintings with shadows and lightings. And it come to understand how a proper human-made artwork with good lighting should look like. And AI artist, this is the other AI that is a part of the training process, is constantly generating new art, and its job is to send it to the AI critic and get a grade from the AI critic. And the AI critic gives the grade based on how similar the painting that it got from the artist resembles art that was created by humans. So if it's just a blob of pixel, this art is going to get a very bad grade. And if the shadows are not there or are there and not making a lot of sense, it's going to get a relatively bad grade. And every time that happens, the AI artist takes this input and it propagates it, back propagates it into its own neural network and changes some things. It's kind of a black box inside there. So it changes some things. So the next time it creates something, it will be a bit more similar to what the AI critic identifies as human-made art, whether if it's in the beginning is just making proper colors and characters inside it, and after that it's getting proper shadows and lighting and really taking it to the extreme. While the end goal is to reach a point where it's really hard even for a human to determine if an AI painting is actually an AI painting or a human painting. And that kind of what we are doing for the past 2 years, combining it with a lot of other technologies and a lot of user input that we added along the way.
Yeah, I mean, the light effect of it, like, look at this, right? This is called nuclear winter. It is gloomy, right? Like you can see, like the image has that darkness in it. It has that level of detailing where you look at it and you know that this cannot be, the name of this image cannot be something which is chirpy or happy or something. There is this gloominess to it, and it's just depicted so nicely. What are the chances any of these paintings that the AI has made are very closely resembling another actual human-made painting or a picture? What are the chances?
So a lot of them are going to resemble somewhat human-made pictures, but none of them is going to be the same, and all of them are always going to be very distinguishable from the actual pieces. You would look at a piece and you say, oh, I can identify Dali here, or I can identify Rembrandt here, but it will never look like anything that they actually created. So we had collectors generating like trying to generate replicas of famous paintings, and you can see that it has resemblance to the famous painting. That's the first thing to come to your mind, but yet it's still completely different.
It's not merely a distortion of the original image. It is much more than that. That's what you're saying. That distorting anybody can do, but what AI has done is taken inspiration, played around with it, designed it in its own image, sort of looked at other inspirations and stuff, and then created something absolutely different.
Yes,
it's
so
mind-blowing.
Always completely from scratch. It's never the same. What we're saying here is always something that the AI created on the spot after receiving the text prompt, and obviously the collector that created it, kind of the human artist that was in control of the AI, was the one to, at the end of the day, decide what is the winning design that is going to be published. And I actually have a request for one eponym that really amazed me on how similar it was. So can I DM you the link on Twitter real quick?
Just let me know. I'll find it here.
So it's hard to write it down because it has an emoji as part of its name.
Right.
I saw it yesterday and it really blew my mind.
Let me check. Oh wow. So it took the inspiration from the. So you're saying it's similar to what again?
I don't think I just it's not similar to a specific artist, but someone
Yeah.
wrote Eye of the Beholder, and that's pretty much like the best representation of Eye of the Beholder I could have thought about. Probably couldn't. It just amazes me, the AI at this point understand emojis, and just such a distinguished piece that doesn't really look like anything I've seen before. So this piece,
And the AI signed it as well, right? There is the signature here.
yeah.
as well.
Sometimes the AI has the habit of signing some of the pieces, and that's because during the training process, the AI critic saw a lot of signed pieces. As you can see, this signature is not really an existing signature. This is a made-up signature by the AI. So the AI knows that a lot of good pictures has signatures in them. And when the AI artist started randomly generating pieces that
Right.
had kind of signatures, it received better grades. So at this point, the AI artist many times results to adding a signature to some of the works.
Let's look at some of the ones that I have made as well. So this is one that I made. I called it "An AI Imagines the Future," and I think the colors, the shading, the lighting, the texturing, it's crazy. I don't even know where this is inspired from. I don't know what kind of art this is, but I saw it and I was like, well, if the AI is imagining this as the future, then it must be interesting nonetheless. Then I made this one called God of Cryptocurrency. It looks like the Indian god Ganesha to an extent, right? I thought this was really cool, but then I kind of felt that some of the other images had like a similar-ish design, though completely different.
Yeah.
But it had like a similar pattern to it, which I thought the AI, must be liking. And then this one I loved just because it was so different from everything else. This is like
I agree.
an expensive NFT on Ethereum, and it has like this whole blockchain thing, which I thought it kind of picked up on its own. I didn't even write the term blockchain, and it kind of created this sort of bag with like something.
It looks
I
like
thought
something you
was
removed from a museum wall.
Yeah, and splattered it on the ground. And then this is pure art, right? Like this a human should be making, in my opinion. This is Bitcoin is digital gold, and just the representation of it was fabulous, in my opinion. So after I made this one, this was the first one I made. I was like, okay, there is no stopping me from doing more of this. So actually, before we go further, what I want to do is sort of burn to Eponym Generation 1 and then create one Eponym Generation 2. So I just bought for like 0.39 ETH and 0.31 ETH. Just FY, my collection of eponyms now has I have like, I think 20 plus Generation 1, and I've minted 4 of Generation 2 already, right? Like,
That's awesome.
Some of them I bought really cheap, but I really like Origin Trail was super nice. Last Day on Earth was fantastic. I can't burn this one. End of the World is just fantastic. I thought Anon was pretty nice. This has so much character to it, and these ones were a little random, but I think there is something to it because this WTF one, it is like in the first 1,000 numbers or something. Like it's number, it's 1103. I think.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good word, pretty good text.
Yeah.
I don't know if good, like
So
a popular one at least. Not surprised to see it one of the first pieces.
Yeah, I want to get one of those early ones, like first 100 ones, but it's hard to get them at a low rate. But I will keep looking. I think a lot of people are selling eponyms pretty cheap as well, so I'm keep buying from the floor all the time to mint Generation 2 right now. So, like, this is the one we will be burning today. It's called NFT verse. Bye bye
Wow,
NFT
we're
verse,
going to
and we'll
burn
be
something
burning.
live?
Sorry.
We're going to burn something on the interview?
Yes, we're gonna,
Wow.
and we'll make a new art as well.
All right, I'm excited.
Uh, yeah, so we're gonna burn brain, right?
Burn
And we're
brain.
going to burn NFT verse. So these two are going away. So you can say bye bye to them. So what's happening here? What am I doing here, Ben?
Okay, what you're doing right now is you're basically sending these two pieces to the black hole, to the OpenSea wallet that no one can access and no one will ever have the ability to access. And basically that means that these pieces are banned, they will not be traded ever, and no one could purchase them. And you're basically saying goodbye to your art right now. You're sacrificing two of your pieces in order to get a token that will allow you to create a new Gen 2 that has all of the potential of Gen 2, create Apple stories, and all of the things around it. And it seems that you just burned them, so congratulations.
Oh my
How does
god,
it feel?
it hurts every time I burn these, man. Just seeing what you had done with Eponym, I first couldn't believe it. I was like, this doesn't seem right. Like there must be some kind of a hoax because the art looked so good on Gen 1 because there was no Gen 2 at that point of time that I was like this is not possible. And then spending more and more and more time in it, and when I saw that people are saying, I wrote these words and the AI spat out this art, and I'm like, no way, like this is not possible. Like how can AI think of something like this? And yeah, and the more I spent time on it, I looked at so many of these images. I was just blown away, and more on a daily basis. So let's do it. Let's create some art and kind of show people how this Gen 2 art can be created. What should we call this, Ben? Come on, this is a momentous occasion.
Oh wow! Oh wow! I didn't have time to think about it before. Now I'm stressed. Whew, that's a good question. Having a bit of a blackout. How about blackout?
Right. So we do blackout. Do you want to add any instructions that you like personally that you think will make it super nice? Are there any keywords, any code words that will make my eponym stand out? Come on, give me something.
So maybe give it like a Dali style blackout and have another modifier of having it epic. So an epic Dali blackout. That sounds interesting.
So I've written Dali style, then I put a pole in the middle, and then I've written epic. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. So that's the way to set apart different modifiers. Now the AI is going to take blackout as your main theme,
Right.
and that's going to be the base of the design, and then it's going to apply what it knows as Dali style, which is it knows because it knows Dali, and
Yeah.
also Epic uh, also knows what Epic is, and I'm always surprised also knows other languages and emojis and everything.
What are some of the how many modifiers should one put? Oh my god. Oh wow. This is so crazy.
That's
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 so crazy.
weird. So I can see the dolly here,
Yeah,
things, scattered around. This is almost confusing, kind
I
of
love
getting a
it.
blackout only by looking at it.
I love it. Let's. So somebody in the Twitter said that don't sort of like if you want to play around with it, what you do is open another window, right?
Yeah.
We do blackout Dali style. Let me let me close the other windows at the same time. Okay, so let's do blackout. Let's do just if I write just Dali, I write epic. What else should I write? Let's do Give me one more
Yeah,
modifier.
well, let's add some fire to it.
Fire?
Yeah,
You want to add fire to a
let's add some
blackout?
fire.
Do you want to add some gold? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Gold sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. So now we have Dali, Epic, Fire, and Gold to it. The first rendition of art was terrific. I think this is something, right? Uh, let's see what the other one is giving us. What is a flux capacitor? Like these things which are coming here, it's just random stuff, right?
Yeah, so flex capacitor, it's a reference from whoa, that looks like blazing gold.
Yeah, it does. But the first one is still more Dali. This one has lesser Dali in it. I still save
Yeah,
them.
so
Every time I make one of these, like I make like a samples folder, so I don't let them go to waste if I create them.
and I see Discord is just our Discord is full with attempts, and people are like kind of um, advising each other on what modifiers to use and what words to make, and people are doing that all the time.
Yeah, I haven't been on your Discord, uh, because I kind of feel that sometimes a mystery is just more fascinating when it is a mystery, and this was such a mystery that I think the only person I'd want to solve this mystery or understand a bit more would be with somebody like you who's actually in it on a regular basis.
Yeah, maybe we
So,
should give it something that blackout. It's always going to be pretty abstract to describe,
right.
and
So we write
maybe
abstract.
well, I love the abstracts. I love them. They're amazing, and a lot of the Gen 2 are like amazing abstracts. Um,
Okay, let's do
oh yeah,
blackout,
so doing the
Dali.
abstract is it's going to be even more like out there.
Hmm.
It's always need to kind of describe a blackout. Also, it's worth mentioning that any text that you're going to use has to be text that wasn't used by anyone else before. So obviously, a lot of like many thousands of the terms are already taken.
Yeah,
Um,
510 of them or something, right?
yeah, and then you have like an additional 8,000 different, wow, 8,000 different Gen 1s with text that was already used. Sometimes if you're being a bit more specific, like you describe, I don't know, like floor is lava, or like ocean storm, or clouds over the rainbow, or anything like that, that gives the AI more things. Wow. Okay. So yeah, that should create something interesting.
What should it be? Blackout in an ocean storm? Okay, let's do
Yeah, I
blackout.
think
And let's just give it one modifier, which is Dali. What do you think? Or no modifier? What do you prefer?
let's see how it looks like without any modifiers in the begin with. You see like a cool base.
Okay, I still like the first one. If these aren't turning nice, I don't mind minting this. I really like
So
this one.
you
Like,
still you have the first one saved, just waiting to see how it
yeah,
goes,
of
right?
course. Of course. If I like something, I wouldn't close that window. Then I will start opening new windows, and then finally choose the one that I like the most, and then mint that. Because if I close it, then it's gone. Then I can never get that one back.
Yeah, yeah, and
Wow, this is something.
yeah, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, and a little less explosive. I want explosion. I want an
Yeah, that's
explosion,
a good modifier.
and I want Dali and an explosion during a blackout in an ocean storm. Oh shit! Oh shit! I pressed mint by mistake.
Oh
Oh
wow.
my god! But I haven't confirmed it. We okay. We're fine. We're fine. I haven't confirmed the contract, so we're okay. Phew. Gave me a
Wow.
scare there. Come on.
I know that if you mint something that you didn't have the intention to, there are other people from the community that are going to be a bit mad. They're looking at Gen 2. As far as they're concerned, Gen 2 has to be this super precise collection and everything, They're not allowing any mistakes. I heard
Yeah.
people being really mad about people minting things with typos on Gen 2.
Yeah.
Because lots of them did on Gen 1, there was a lot of FOMO, a lot of pressure, and people really tried to get them everything through on time, and it resulted in some funny accidents.
I mean, that's what the community is, right? Like they want stuff to be in a way, and actually, it also depends on the. This looks like a twisted version of that realm that Goku used to practice. Uh, in Dragon Ball Z, he used to go and practice in like that.
Like in the clouds, is flying.
Yeah, no, he used to like go and work out in this little place, right, where Kaioken or what was his name,
Oh
uh,
yeah, King Kai.
King Kai, he used to be
Yeah,
there or something, right? It looks
in
like,
heaven. King Kai is like this small world, and he was running all over the place with King Kai's
yeah.
gorilla.
I don't know. I don't see my explosion so well in this. Like maybe the AI decided not to give me an explosion. I am the kind who wants to get. But here's the thing, right? Like I saw the guys who minted the best ones. They tried thousands of them. Like I know this for a fact. Like they did this for hours and hours. Of course, we're gonna try one more, and if we don't like it, we're gonna mint the first one that we liked, and that'll be awesome because I really like that one. So this is the one to beat, right? Like this one's just so
Yeah,
it's dark, it's dingy, it has these weird Dali like figures, it has the whole silhouette thing happening as well. I
and it
like it.
feels like a blackout. That's a bit more explosive. Yeah, the first one feels like a blackout. It feels like how your brain is when you're blacking out. And yes, and what you said about the first one, so we had a beta testers group, and there they were just abusing the AI as much as they could. That's what we asked them to do. And they went all over the place. They tried a lot of modifiers, and they wrote instructions on how to, best guide the AI towards where we want it to be. And they did a really, really good job. And yeah, it resulted of, some people, tried creating something for days. And you see, we still have a lot of, we have more burnt pieces than Gen 2 pieces. So we have a lot of people doing basically what you're doing right now, generating and coming up with the best possible creation. And that's amazing to us because this collection that is being built in front of our eyes is after a lot of hours that people are put into creating it and making it really, really beautiful. And it's, it happens that someone, trying to generate something that is just perfect and decides, okay, I'm going to continue tomorrow. I want this to be perfect. I don't want to mint until I have the absolute perfect piece that I wanted.
And the thing is that it pays off, like the patience, right? Because then you have kind of seen everything that you want to see and you finally settled on something you really really like, and you don't have to mint it. I mean, we have till the 13th to be able to do this. So what happens after the 13th? uh, right, there is no more Gen 2 that can be created. Wow.
That's right. Wow. So after Gen 2, after the Bern event ends at November 13th, you could never make another Gen 2. And you will be able to start making your Gen 2s into Apple stories. So one thing that Gen 2 can do that the Genesis pieces, the Gen 1 pieces cannot, is that you can add extra layers on top of your Gen 2. That means that you can take your Gen 2 to the generator, and as long as you hold the Gen 1, you will be able to modify it. You could write new text and use new modifiers and everything, a new image is going to be generated, and this is going to be then the top layer of the Gen 2 eponym, and that's what the thing that is going to be presented on OpenSea. Obviously, you will be able to go through the layers, but you are changing the cover of the
How many
eponym.
times? How many times can I change the cover for Gen 2?
So there is no limit, as much as you would like. If you want to create a specific story that ends at some point, you decide where you want to end it. And quite frankly, we have no idea how many layers people are going to add. I guess that it's going to be really really big variation of different lengths of stories. This event is going to happen once a month. So we have 3 days every month when collectors can add layers to their Epo stories, and then after these 3 days, no more changes can be done until the next opportunity. So we will see the eponyms develop and get more and more complex in each passing month.
And if somebody has a Gen 2 and they want to modify it, they can only do it if they have a Gen 1, right?
Yes, that's right.
Any Gen 1 will do. Basically, they need to have that in their wallet.
Yes, any Gen 1 will do.
Wow. And then to make Gen 3, you have to burn 2 Gen 2s, right?
Well, so Gen 3, no, that's not the case. There's not much I can reveal about Gen 3. A lot of it because not necessarily we're calling it Gen 3. But right now there is no plan event in which you can burn 2 Gen 2 to create a Gen 3. The plan is to have Gen 2s kind of be the incarnation of creativity, of the community creativity, pieces that are never becoming obsolete. They'll just continue to develop as much as the owner wants. And sometimes someone doesn't. It's going to want the Gen 2 to just stay the way it is and not add another layers to it. And in that case, it's a question if you list it at all or on how high you're listing it, because you know that if someone buys it from you, this person now has the right to just add extra layers. And also, when you're holding a Gen 2, you're also the owner of the commercial rights of all of the different layers of this Gen 2, and you can do whatever you want with the designs, of course, as long as you're the owner of it.
Nice. Okay. Coming back to the 2 designs that we have, I think we have shortlisted these 2. This one is fantastic. It is very earthy. It is very it has these silhouettes, these ghost type characters, these faces, these bodies, etc. Sort of, it has a eerie feel to it.
Yeah.
And then the other one is sort of, you know, uh, modernistic, but not really. Like it's more of a, how do I say it? It's sort of an edgy design with like buildings, and like you can see through this building that there are more buildings ahead. I like both of
Yeah,
them.
and it's a bit more surreal. It's like the AI tried to really bring some coherent objects into this, and then it became kind of a mix. But I really like the first one as well. The first one feels to me like a Blackout, so I can very much relate.
So first one it is. That's your choice.
I like it more. I like the first one more.
This is this is your mint, man. So whatever you like.
Oh, it's all
Uh,
yours. But I'm honored to take part in it.
it's awesome. I'm gonna save this one as an image as well. But let's mint this. Alrighty, this is my 5th generation 2 being minted right
Wow.
now. That's a huge number, man. That's more than the average people.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. That's a really big number. That's a really big number. So Gen 2 has now it's going to have 508 different pieces and 344 different owners. So that's like way over the 50% rate. Um, so a lot of owners and a lot of owners to not
hey,
so many pieces by this point. So 5 pieces is a lot. Hey, congratulations!
yes, success. We minted it. I'm super duper excited, but I love this one as well. I'm gonna save it and see what can be done with it. Like, I don't know, I want to sort of save these memories of this time when I was minting these. I think that's pretty cool stuff. Um, this is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Especially as this is like something that, kind of one in a lifetime or one in a very long time, event of getting to do something like that. It's definitely, and not
And
everyone
with
is
the
going to have the
creator,
opportunity.
and doing it with the creator of this itself, I mean, what can be better, man? This is such an honor, and I'm so excited that I'm doing this. And let's see when it shows in my collection. But
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
so by this point, I think about $3 million worth of art was sent to the black hole. So, collectors kind of burned art worth about $3 million if I'm doing the rough calculation. As I said, not all of the burnt pieces are minted. So people they knew that they're going to burn and they're waiting to create a perfect thing. And for us, I never heard about such a thing before, about so many people burning art that is valued and so much, and then creating new art based of it. That's quite amazing. That's a really big number.
Yeah, and I love the strategy that you guys have for it as well, right? Like you're not simply like usually Gen 2s are lower valued than Gen 1s, but the way you've done it, there is no way Gen 2 will be lower valued than like the floor of Gen 2 can never be lower than Gen 1. Literally, like that's gonna be the case. Plus, the art in Gen 2 is simply that good, right? Like you've sort of figured out a way to, let people sell off some of the not so, fulfilling art in Gen 1 and then mint Gen 2. So the collection becomes better and better and better. And I found that super exciting and impressive as a strategy. I think that was very well thought out. Uh, why is your collection not as popular as it should be? Like this is insane stuff, right? But that said, I was on a panel with the founder of Sandbox and the founder of Axie Infinity, Alexander. And Alexander, I asked him that, which collection do you like right now? Like, do you buy NFTs? So he was like, man, that Eponym collection is something he's very excited about. I don't know if you know about this or not, but I was super excited to hear that from him. And I was like, yeah, man, like me too. This is so cool. And the fact that we were both aping into the same thing was pretty cool as well. Uh, don't you feel like super happy with that?
I do, and the feeling is amazing. I couldn't get any sleep in the first week at all. Just so much excitement. And you ask a good question on like how come this is not even more popular than what it is, and there's a good answer for it. So it is pretty popular by this point. People know about it. It's going back and forth from the top ranking projects, and um, just before the beginning of Gen 2, we even saw it jumping back to the top of the charts, being even above new projects that just minted. And it shows you the power of the community, and really some really powerful and really smart and experienced collectors are on this. So before we started, other than a small beta group of really amazing experts, no one really knew about that. No one knew that Eponym is coming. We didn't have advertising going for a few months in advance. Nothing. And we were planning kind of a stealth release, but to have it kind of planned, we planned on October 11th, which was a Monday evening, and we wanted, the guys that were working with us on the beta to just start minting and show the world. And we believe that that will be a good thing to start with. But it actually leaked the day before that during an NFL game. So it just came into the world. No one knew about it before. People started to sing and started minting, and then it organically grew from there. And our Twitter grew from 1,500 people to 14,000 people in a very short while, and Discord exploded from like 5 people, which was the team, to thousands of people in hours. And it really started to get going. And Pac saw it very early, and it showed interest on spaces, and obviously was the first one to mint the five first Gen 2s, which I'm really excited about, and really looking forward to see what's going to happen with that. And you got to the project as well, and you got exposed to it. So maybe it is not being advertised as maybe other projects are being very aggressively advertised, but the way it is advertised, just it reaching people for the right reasons. People stumble across it because of the art, because of the process, and they fall in love with it. And you see that grow. So we started on a bearish market. We started like in the very beginning of the bearish market.
I mean, bearish market for NFTs. Like right now is sort of a bear market for NFTs. Also because ETH price is going up and most of NFTs are valued in ETH. So when
Yeah.
the value goes down in ETH, people feel it's also the bearish market, but it's not really in dollar value. It's not really going down. I feel like it's kind of going down. But that said, we will go into the future later. So far, how have you guys made any money from this so far?
Yes, so obviously we had a lot of expenses during the past 2 years developing the technology, but obviously this project is a really good fit. It's a really good, you can call it a market fit to the space of the NFTs because it comprises of people that are very technological, and AI is not a strange word for them. They really know AI, or
Right.
they kind of they had the research about the concept of AI, so they really accepted the project and were fascinated by it. And this is not something, by the way, that the average person is definitely going to understand immediately. Just in the NFT space, in the crypto space, people understand it immediately. So because of this amazing, what you can call market fit, definitely this project has been very profitable, and it gave us a lot of air to continue and work on technology, and bring up some really amazing stuff in the future.
No, my question is, how was it profitable? How did you make money? Did you sell? Oh, from
So
royalties. You correct
before
5%.
during the time before we did the drop.
So even during the drop, right? Like I want to understand the NFT business, and my community would be keen to understand
Oh
that as
yeah.
well, right? So how did you make money so far? And then sort of we will talk about pen and the other stuff that later on. But I want to understand so far. You fundraised, and then after fundraising, you created this, and then you made money now from 5% royalties. But how else do you make? Like, do you make the minting fees? I want to understand.
So yeah, the minting fees are a way to make money. People are paying zero. So it was 0.08 ETH, which was at the time was about $280 per artwork. So that was a major. That was the beginning. And then yes, you have the 5% royalties from the volume traded, and basically that's how it continues. And same goes for Gen 2. Even though the minting price for Gen 2 is lower, it's 0.05 ETH. Obviously, you have the costs of running the machines and making sure that the AI is able to service everyone very very quickly. And as you can see, there are many people that are using it right now, but it was fairly quick to generate new paintings. But
Right.
obviously, this is a very good way to put the AI in use, and the minting and the secondary market are the main ways of generating profits.
Very cool. And have you yourself been minting as well? Which one can I see your collection?
So I minted a few. By the way, I almost missed the gap. Like my mints are like in the very late thousands. I haven't revealed them yet. I haven't revealed what I minted yet. I guess
Okay.
that's because that I'm not intending to keep all of my mints. There's probably some cool things that I can do about them with the community in the future.
Right.
But I'll probably reveal what I have in the future, so everyone could see.
That's
But I
fine.
don't I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot. Not as much as you. That's for sure.
You're saying I have more than you? Come on, man.
Oh yeah,
That's
I don't have a lot at all. I don't have a lot at all. I almost missed the opportunity to mint some of them. It was an extremely busy
yeah.
night,
I
and
I overdid it. For me, like here's the thing, right? I get very excited with some stuff, and it's in crypto, right? Like not usually do you find something which is so fringe, so exciting that you can use, play around with, and just this experience of minting Gen 2 is exceptional. Like it's really something everybody should experience, in my opinion. Like I cannot emphasize how important it is for people in crypto to see and try this so that they know where the whole space is heading, and especially with the NFT side. I kind of feel like we can buy the profile picture NFTs, right? Like it's fine. It all of them are cool, right? But this is something else. For me, this stood out, and I would love to collect these. I don't want to collect a profile picture NFT. So far, I haven't found any of them super duper appealing. Uh, but that said, in the future, right? So I read the latest tweet that you guys put out today, which said something to do with a pen token. Can you tell me what that is, and like what are you guys doing? And also, can you explain the stories part a little bit, and how many? Like I still don't understand visually what it's going to be like. So can you give me a bit of brief on the pen and the stories?
yes. So the pen token is a tool, is a token that you can use instead of a Gen 1. So the prerequisite of creating a Generation 2 is obviously burning two Gen 1s and having the burn token. And then even either or a Gen 1 in your wallet or having a pen. So the pen is something that we can control, and we can distribute pens to the community, basically to as a safeguard to make sure that anyone that wants to make a that wants to modify a Gen 2, now we're speaking about adding layers, is able to do so. And at some point, Gen 1s can be can get to be very very expensive, and it's possible that a lot of people are going to want to modify their repositories, which is something that we want people to do because we really want to see the creativity and how it develops. And pens are going to assist people without Gen 1s to do that.
Right. And how
Yet,
many
yet again,
pens are
there's not
there?
going to be a lot. There's not going to be a lot of pens. The number of pens that will be released are first probably going to be not a lot of them. Second, it's going to be just the right amount to make sure that it's not impossible to add a layer. But it's not going to become the main method of creating it. It's just something to complement the Gen
Right.
1 to make sure that it's not too difficult to make it.
Okay. But the pen happens only after the 13th, right? After which there is no more Gen 2 being minted.
Yes, and it very much also depends on the amount of Gen 2s ratio towards Gen 1s. By this point, we still don't know how many we're going to have. So,
Right.
we have a lot of, almost 1,400 burnt pieces by this point, which is a lot. I don't know if anyone sent so many pieces to the black hole in such a short while. And yeah, we don't know how many we're going to have until the 13th. I assume that while we're getting closer and closer to the end of the burn event, we will have a lot of people that will do the burning then. And once that happens, we will know how many Gen 1s we have left. And according to that, we will know how many pens are going to be distributed.
Right. So far it's 700, 508 only, right?
Yeah, so for now it's 508, only including your last addition to the collection, which I think is a very
Yes.
fine addition.
I love it.
Um, but 1,394 were already sent to the black hole. So that's
Right.
about 700. So we have like the potential of about 100 more that can be generated right now, but the collectors, the artists, excuse me, like 200 more, and the artists are taking their time in creating. That's a lot. That's a lot of paintings that are already waiting, and they will all be created during this week, because after the burnt
Yeah.
event is over, the token, you have nothing to do with them. And I really hope no one is going to let their token go to waste. That will just be a big waste, and we want to see the art. So yes, for now, we have the potential of 700 Gen 2s, and we still have a few days to go. And obviously, we're going to expect some sort of really
Yeah.
surge in creations at the end.
I saw somebody trying to sell a token for 20 ETH or something. I thought that was so funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And you can never know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen by this point with Gen 2 when Apple stores are introduced. And I guess
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot depending on who you are making. Like, are you making it by yourself? Are you doing like a story that is very well thought from the beginning? And I saw some Gen 2s that the name just looked like a first sentence of a story, and I love that. And maybe you are doing a collaboration with someone else. You're sending your repository, and then this person adds more things. And we have a lot of artists, a lot of popular artists that are holding Gen 2s, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do. And I guess that this is going to affect the price quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think something like this has far more potential than any other stuff that I've seen. And I think price is only a matter of people's love for the collection, right? Like the reason why a good collection will survive is because people who hold it don't care if the price goes down; they buy more. Like it's as simple as that. And when I feel like that, right? Like when a collection's price goes down and I want to buy it, this is it. Like then that's the right emotion to have for yourself to feel like a collector. But if there is an art piece I buy and the floor kind of goes down and it scares me, then it's not the right collection for me to buy. So instead of buying more, I should sell it because it's not really working out for me. So this is one of those that so far has been. Actually, this is the only collection I've actually felt like really buying. So for me, this is really close to me, and this is probably the only collection I've gotten into. And I have a tendency to sort of buy a lot of it. Like I have these two collections. One is called the Urban Dictionary, which is my friend's collection. Um, and I just love it, right? Like, have you heard of the Urban Dictionary? In actuality, they are these words that are pretty easy to understand, but they don't really mean. In reality, they have these very funky meanings behind them.
Yeah.
So he's
I
kind of
spent a lot
made
of time
these.
there when I first got to the crypto space, like to understand the terminology. I felt like a real noob in the beginning, so I had to visit there a lot.
Oh, yeah. I think his one is a little more perverted than anything else, especially the terms he's chosen. But he's done a family friendly version NFT of that. So he's done
Yeah.
like a cute NFT collection of that. I found that to be super, super cool. So I got as many as I could because I just want to have them. And so the same goes for the Eponym collection as well. I really want to see how things happen post 13 because at the end of the day, besides the collection part, the floor going up is just a good thing to feel like, well, we made the right choice, right? Like more than anything else, I kind of want to really see how things play out. And there is some amount of pride in choosing a product that does well, and then the community sees it and you see it early on, right? That's crypto investing 101 in general. So now to wrap it up, sort of, I want you to talk about three crypto projects that you like and three NFT projects that you really like as well.
Okay, so that's a good question. So obviously, art blocks. I think it's was one of the developments in the space that I can relate to and many can relate to. It's really innovative. It's really beautiful, and I guess that coming from an AI art background that put a lot of um, really put a lot of focus on aesthetics. The projects that I find very interesting are usually there, very very aesthetic. Um, so art blocks is one of them. And well, I guess that by this point I'm not a huge collector of NFTs yet. Most of what I did is take part in the development of a new NFT project, but basically been researching everything ever since. Recently, so in terms of aesthetics, that's going to be art blocks. Doodles are really cool. I don't have any doodles, but just seeing the stats on doodles, it seems like it's been done right. It seems like the growth there is pretty organic. Doesn't seem like any pump and dump activity. Just seems like really legitimate growth and pretty persistent. So that's interesting. And I guess that's a very neutral answer, nothing special. But Punks, probably the collection that I've been following like the longest, even before I was really a part of the NFT space. And I think it's important to kind of speak about the reason for that. So punks are probably the things that are the most resemble in the art market that we all know. You get a piece. By this point, this piece is very expensive, but it's also very stable. So if you have a punk, you know that most chances you're going to hold to this punk for a long time, and it's going to increase in value. And that's, for me, that's like how many from the space think the same, that this is the future of the space. You're going to have a few leading projects, kind of blue chip art, that are there. They are very, very well known. They have a lot of history and a lot of stability, which is kind of different from the rest of the market right now. And you know that you're holding a piece of history, which is the same thing that art collectors feel about a lot of the pieces that they hold. So I tried kind of to bring one project from every aspect, while mentioning that for me still most of my experience with the NFT market was obviously with Eponym, which is which is definitely my favorite project.
Yeah, rightfully so. And talking to you, actually, I feel like the whole the whole NFT market is such a different subculture than the cryptocurrency market, right? Like people evaluate NFTs and the way things are led by the founders so importantly, because NFT is the token, NFT is the product, NFTs, every aspect of how it was launched, how it was produced, how the community is looking at it, how it's getting distributed, every aspect of it is judged on the basis of the NFT itself. But in terms of the crypto market, there are so many things like, oh, do you have a product? Do you have these partnerships? Do you have this? Do you have that? And it kind of like takes away from sometimes some of the issues that the teams do while making the product itself. But kind of like that's why NFT becomes far more fascinating, and you're very much focused to the token itself, which is the non-fungible token that it is. That's amazing. Uh, Ben, it was really great to have you on the show today. I learned quite a bit. It was such a pleasure talking to you. In fact, I would love to invite you again once all the Gen 2s have been minted, and we can then play around and make a story as well, and then see how it goes. Starting with the story that we started today called Blackout. What?
Oh wow, yeah, that sounds amazing, and I'm sure that AI will join us as well. And I will, it kind of surprised me that we burnt a piece. And I'm definitely going to be prepared for the creation of the story. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.